Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. As the online exchange between Charles Martin, the former IBF champion and current WBC interim champion Dillian Whyte, intensifies, the question I'm asking myself is, does Dillian Whyte even need Charles Martin? Should he be facing any more Joshua leftovers? Because let's face it, Charles Martin has never shaken that stink of that Joshua loss. And Whyte has made some comments, some very pertinent comments. And actually, this is kind of a two-part video, I should say. This part is going to focus on Dillian Whyte, and I've already done a piece for my Patreon focusing on a few of the woes that Charles Martin actually has for his career, the handbrake on it, and Dillian Whyte in a story has actually, in some comments he's made, nailed part of Martin's problems, and I've expanded on a few other things in that video about where he is really at, because it's not a great place. But this video more about Whyte, because he's talked about wanting a fight in America, and it's probably going to be on DAZN. I mean, he does have a fight-by-fight deal with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, so that would be the expectation, but you can't rule it out that he goes to another platform, although I'm not expecting it. I think if he goes to the US, it will be on DAZN. So you already have a few issues right off the bat anyway with Charles Martin being a PBC fighter, but we'll come to that. But the online beef you can see here, so Charles Martin posting to his social media, and this is in response to Dillian Whyte, and I'll get to the story. So Dillian Whyte had said, it sounds like Charles Martin is up to his old tricks and is desperate for a payday to keep him going. Nothing, he says, worries me in the slightest. Ravings of a deluded fool. Actually, I think even the real Prince Charles would knock him out. And he made those comments, Whyte, in response to a Sky Sports beat-up story where they had asked Charles Martin, are you interested in a fight with a guy like Dillian Whyte? And he said, yes, Whyte is an easy fight. He takes too many clean punches. So the media sparking off this sort of online beef or whatever, but Charles Martin responding, saying that Dillian Whyte posts this on a story, don't get mad at me because you got knocked out by a 45-year-old washed-up fighter, and Povetkin boy is not with me. I'm ready. You are scary, you British muffin. I'm cleaning up some of the language here as I go too. I call you a muffin because you soft like that 2 times champ. You walk in the park, and even Povetkin knew it. You fought him again after he had Alzheimer's and couldn't remember how to fight. Scrub. Another post saying, look at this clown trying to bench press like 5,000 pounds, like that's going to help him. Boy, you know, you take the fight, and you, Eddie Hearn, stay running from real competition. You just got bodied. I'm your ass again in New York. Hashtag all the muscle and the clown emoji, you know, arm flex, all that sort of stuff at Dillian Whyte. So as I say, I cleaned up some of the language because it's maybe not, you know, sort of PG for YouTube. But in the other one here, he says he don't want the fight. This is in the comment section to his own post.
You ass, Dillon. Come get some. You lack in the cardio department. That's what I'm gonna capitalize on. I want to welcome you out here, man, to the USA with a knockout. Bring your ass here, boy. Grub.
Does Dillian Whyte need that fight? Is that the real question? Because at the moment, if you step back and actually step back and look at where Charles Martin is at, probably not in a very good place, because remembering he's been out of the ring for 16 months and seemingly no fight in sight. And the fact that he's calling out and going so hard at Dillian Whyte would seem to suggest that he doesn't really have anything on the horizon either. And that's not a good place to be. So he's really trying to beat this up and sort of sell this and try to have this rivalry, try to get, you know, a fight with Whyte. But I'm not so sure it makes sense at the moment, because if Dillian Whyte is going to the United States to fight on DAZN, you know, it's probably not going to work for a PBC fighter, because PBC keep it in-house. Charles Martin's most recent fights, since he obviously sold that belt to Joshua back in 2016, all of those 6 fights he's had subsequently have all been on PBC. They keep it in-house at PBC. So Charles Martin, I mean, it would only work if White went to PBC, and I can't see that happening. Or it was some sort of co-promotional on some sort of event. But what card is that going to be? It's not going to happen. So you've got promotional issues right off the bat. You've got Charles Martin begging for this fight. Obviously, maybe he is short of $1. I don't know. But he wants the fight, and he's saying that Dillian Whyte is running from him. So this is some manufactured narrative that's obviously been built up, and and we can thank Sky Sports for that. But the question is, does Dillian Whyte even need it? I mean, Charles Martin, seemingly hard to know where he's going right now, because all of his sort of, comrades at the PBC have either been in fights this year or have got fights scheduled. He and Dominic Breazeale were seemingly, the last guys without a seat. Maybe they'll end up fighting each other. Luis Ortiz is still floating around, but it's unlikely, I think, that he's going to be fighting Charles Martin. I don't expect that fight to happen. But, Breazeale and Martin, I mean, maybe it could happen. But as for Dillian Whyte, getting back to some of the reason that I wanted to do this video is, does he need more sort of common opponents with Anthony Joshua? Because, as we've seen in recent years, he could have had that fight. This is Dillian Whyte with Joshua, the rematch. They fought before Joshua was the champion. Joshua won that one, stopped Whyte. Whyte's been, in recent years on a bit of a run, picked up some good names on a resume. His sort of momentum slowed down by that Povetkin loss, but then obviously he got the win and the return bout. But does he actually need a guy like Charles Martin to even, build more common opponents? I don't think so. Plus, as well, as Whyte's pointed out, there's a couple of factors that fighting Charles Martin, with the stink of Martin's performance against Joshua, Charles Martin really hasn't shaken that all. So, there would be basically, if Whyte beats him, would he get much credit? Probably not. And Charles Martin and Dillian Whyte, it only really makes sense if there's something on the line. Sure, Dillian Whyte is the WBC interim champion, but Charles Martin at the moment is just a guy. He's a guy with some rankings, but does it make sense? I'm not sure it really does. And is there a lot of buzz and momentum to sort of build towards that fight? Well, not really. It hasn't really been something that's been spoken about until now, and this sort of whole situation was a piece of manufactured beef. So maybe this is the seed of some sort of rivalry, but it's not exactly a fight that fans have been thirsting for. And Whyte is right when he says, how much credit can I get? Even if I stop him faster than Joshua, people will say that he was wrecked. So Charles Martin, seemingly no fight on the horizon, is really quite keen for this. But it doesn't mean that we're going to get it, or even that Whyte should take the fight, because Joshua has fought the likes of Parker and Povetkin. Whyte's followed those up with wins over those guys. Whyte got some credit, obviously, against Joseph Parker, because he dropped him, something Joshua didn't. But then Whyte was obviously stopped by Alexander Povetkin in that first fight in 2020. So you can actually make a case that building these types of common opponents and this sort of stuff this deep into his career, one, it's not necessary, but two, it's risky. But I sort of think that there's not the sort of finances that would be here to make a fight. One, I think Charles Martin would want too much, but two, if Whyte's going to be in America, it's going to be on DAZN. DAZN at the moment is really tightened their purse strings. They're not going to throw silly money at this sort of stuff. Whyte will have to keep his expectations in check and take a haircut on whatever he gets paid. He's been talking, at least in recent months, you've had the likes of Stephen Shaw, Jermaine Franklin. Those names have been floating around. The amount that they would get paid compared to Charles Martin is much less. And those guys like a Jermaine Franklin, that's more in the sort of ballpark money that DAZN would probably be willing to pay. It would be a career high payday for a Franklin, but it would be affordable for DAZN. Charles Martin will want big money. I mean, at the moment, it sort of seems to be a lot of hot air and sort of bickering online, who's basically different fan bases, who's basically going to sort of come out on top and look like they actually wanted the fight. But there was no rivalry, no beef until it was instigated by a media side. A fight that no one was really calling for or desperate for, and there would really be nothing too much on the line. And I don't think Whyte really needs this for his legacy, and there is promotional issues to getting it made anyway. So I don't think that Dillian Whyte and Charles Martin is happening, and I'm not sure that Whyte really needs the fight for any real reason anyway. I don't mind the fight, but it's not exactly one that I sort of thought, wow, that's going to just be one that we have to see. I don't think it's that sort of fight. I mean, we've had other rivalries that have bubbled up in recent years. Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. I'd far prefer to see that fight over a Charles Martin fight. But what about you? Do you think Dillian Whyte needs this fight? Is it just hot air? It's going to come to nothing. And even though Charles Martin is sort of fronting like he wants this fight, it's, he wants it to happen, Dillian Whyte is ducking him or whatever, I think it's all hot air. It will come to nothing. And also, I think it exposes Charles Martin has got really nothing on the go right now, and he's desperate for a fight, any payday. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.